Welcome to CivilNet. And because we don't do anything by the books, now what we're going to do today is I, Salpi Ghazarian, am going to interview you, Greg Bilazarian, who has been an invaluable part of our operation for nearly a year, and who is now unfortunately leaving us. The only reason I'm smiling is because you're going to go to the Yale Graduate School, Yale School of Management, and I'm glad for you. But the good part of this is that you are going to come back.
Yeah.
In some capacity.
Yeah.
Why are you going to come back?
That is a good first question. The hardest part about leaving, I think, is that you build up this whole year of getting to know so many things, language, people, and you feel this connection. And then I'm going to school. I'm sort of dropping off the cliff a little bit, figuratively in terms of losing all that. But I don't know. It's do I answer this one politically correct, or I tell you why I'm going to come back?
Why are you going to come back?
Yeah, because I think that, originally I would have said I wanted to come back to start businesses because I wanted to be part of changing Armenia. Now I say I want to come back and start businesses because I think there's talent here. And I think that the lifestyle here is amazing, regardless of whether it was Armenia or another place. And I'm as happy here as I've been anywhere in the world. I'm happier here than I've been anywhere in the world. So that's why I want to come back. And in my answer, I think that sometimes we have these extra reasons why we need to do things. But for me, this is, I hope a byproduct is that, my little part is successful in helping the country. But,
Greg, I got to tell you, I think the reason that your experience here at CivilNet has been, at least from our perspective, and I would like to think from yours, has been so positive, is because you answer questions the way you just did. In other words, you don't come with this diaspora baggage of, I'm going to sacrifice things and go help people. You're quite aware of the fact that at the beginning and the end of the day, you got to be comfortable with what you're doing. And if we can get that message out, so now you've got all sorts of responsibilities on you. Not only do you have to graduate Yale with honors, but you also have to do this missionary work out there.
Sure.
And sharing the message that you just gave. You came intending to stay how long?
2 months.
And you stayed?
14.
14, or more than a year even. And during that whole time you've been here, and you've been part of helping set up a different sort of operation. I'm going to play the good fairy and give myself 3 wishes, and I'm going to appoint you 3 different things. And you need to say that at the end of this experience now, if you were appointed King of CivilNet, what would you do? If you were appointed King of Armenia, what would you do? And if you were appointed King of the diaspora, what would you do?
We talked before, you said, do you want to give me the questions? I thought you were going to say, like, tell me a story of this and that.
No, let's start. If you were appointed King of CivilNet, where do you want to see this new adventure going?
I think I'd focus a little bit more on marketing and on making sure that we get all our stories out to all aspects of society. We've talked about internet penetration quite a bit. It's more than 50% now. So I would make sure everybody knew what we were doing.
Do you think that the diaspora wants to know what we're doing? Do you believe, I believe, do you believe that there's a market out there?
Mm-hmm, absolutely. I mean, I had a random, unexpected lunch today. It was with a friend, and it ended up being 5 other friends from a diaspora, or 5 other people who I didn't know from a diasporan organization. And they knew what we were doing quite well, and they were very interested in everything related to Armenia and related to what CivilNet's doing.
And these aren't 65-year-olds.
No, I mean, they were, I think they were like 25 and up, but definitely nothing older than 40. And yeah, I think they definitely do. And I'm happy to say that because you go through moments, especially like in the winter, you go through times where you really do feel like not only you're in a country, you're like in another planet, and you really don't know what's being thought of back there. I don't mean to say back there like it's, you know what I'm saying? I think they do, absolutely. I mean, and it's not give us so much credit. I think they do want to hear more about what's happening in terms of the stuff we're doing. In fact, one of the people I was talking with was like, you know, she had a news background, and we related that we were done covering car accidents and snowstorms. We were covering big picture stuff, and that's what we do. So yeah, I do. So if I was king, I would make sure everybody knew what we were doing, and then they could decide. And if they decide they hate us, as I think you've said before, that's fine. And if they gave us feedback, that's fine. But I would just want everyone to see what we were doing, and then maybe learn a little bit more about current Armenia.
So the little message in this interview to those who are watching us is please get the word out. So that's that. So if you're king of Armenia, what would you do? Where do you begin to change this place, which is what we all say not only we want for ourselves, but because we really think everybody wants it?
I don't mean to give you a cop-out answer, but I think because I've been here so long, I'm now unable to answer that question. I think that in past months, I would have told you exactly, I would have said start businesses, but now I've had so many conversations about this is difficult and there's so many layers, and you've always said like things are not black and white, there's gray. So I don't know, I mean, I could tell you specific things that are not good, you know, and things that people react to. I mean, I would figure out a way to keep people in the country, but it wouldn't be through building a wall, of course. I mean, to me, that's always been the #1 issue, and when I look at our people, I'm always trying to find ways that these people that have the right talent are working in their field and staying in the country. So it would be some plan along those lines, but I wish I had a better, this specific.
No, I think the best thing is that you don't think you have all the answers, because I really think at the end of the day, all of us together here and there are going to have to come up with those specific answers and work out them. You were really upset after the elections.
Yeah.
And I think you were surprised at how upset you were.
Yeah, I was.
In retrospect, what is it that you think can be done from the outside or from the inside in the run-up to the next election?
Again, you know, I've had so many meetings. Well, this is my chance to pitch my idea, but then, you know, I'll poke holes in my own idea. What am I doing? I think that through social media, I think that through cheap technology, I think you can, and through training, you can have a real presence on election day. And you know, various reports say various things. I don't care what anyone says. Based on what I saw, I think election day, this particular election, was a huge problem. I think that reports rightly said that some things went a little better, such as media accessibility or following the laws or the television stations giving the proper time in the run-up. But I thought election day itself was just full of corruption, and I thought that that's how some parties were able to really, you know, do what they were able to do to get their representation. I think through cheap cameras, I think through more intense media, I think through things that we do, and then most importantly with all that, getting the prosecutor's office on board. You need the prosecutor's office to just bring somebody out and say, you know, like, and make an example of someone. We did a report, we never did the PS on it, so I'll just do the PS now. I mean, I did a report where we showed all sorts of...
The black shirt, the pink shirt.
Yeah, and it was also, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but I think you would call that a lot of circumstantial evidence. I know, unfortunately, we didn't have the smoking gun of the passport changing or whatever it is. But we got a report back basically saying, yeah, we called a few people and nothing. You know, no one ever asked to talk to me, no one ever looked for a camera, this and that.
And the prosecutor, when we filed the report, said, nope, there really wasn't anything there.
Yeah, so I mean, one, you need to do this media thing where you have this big presence in every precinct. There's about 200 or 2,000 in the country, and I think you can do that. And then you need some strong PR and strong legal system to run these people through.
It's really interesting that we're having this conversation at this time, because one of the reasons you've been so valuable to this project is because you come from a journalism background, because you've been a reporter, you've been a producer, and you helped put structure to a new sort of different sort of medium without this sort of context here in Armenia. I mean, it wasn't like we had bad examples to try to improve on. And so the reason you've been so great is because you have journalism experience. At the same time, though, we've argued about the difference between objective journalism, the way the U.S. pretends it exists, and...
See, there you go, saying pretend.
Say it, pretends it exists, and advocacy journalism.
Right. Which is a nice way of saying biased journalism sometimes.
I don't think it's biased so much at, well, look, it is being very open about a purpose. Right. And I think it's fair to say that we're doing all this because we sure as heck have a purpose. And the purpose is to empower people, make them believe that they can change things and actually work towards it. So this kind of commitment to the last elections and the coverage, the next elections and coverage, is part of, I think, what we've managed to pull off with a lot of help from you. Now, on your next mission out in the diaspora, I've also appointed you king of the diaspora.
Okay.
What are you going to do?
Just get more involved with current events. Just see it more as a country, more as a day-to-day thing.
As opposed to?
As opposed to, I need to phrase this in the correct way. as opposed to taking trips to see exclusively ancestral stuff, or as opposed to constantly fighting battles on past things. I'm not speaking about one specific thing. I just think that maybe just even from the tourism standpoint, like every time I meet someone and have a lunch or meet them in a restaurant, I always say, come to our office and let me explain to you and let me show you like the current people working here. I just wish, yeah, maybe I should just come out and say it. I think there are basically two issues that diasporans do have pretty good knowledge on. It's genocide recognition and the attempt for that, and you know, Karabakh to an extent, the Azeri conflict. But there's so much more, and I wish there was just more understanding of current events. And once people wrap their heads around the local current events, they might actually find that they have a chance to make some sort of a impact, because some of these things are things that your skills can be very helpful for, and you know, some of them are so ingrained and it's such a battle, but some really might not be that hard. That would be it. Just please get more involved with current events. Know who some of these guys are. I don't even want to say some of their names because I don't think they deserve my voice, but yeah, that's what I would say.
Greg, I want to say on behalf of everybody who watches CivilNet, thank you to you for the difference you made here. And on behalf of CivilNet, the door is open and you can come back and run this place anytime you like. And on behalf of the diaspora, I think it's going to be great to have a missionary like you out there.
I appreciate it, but I'm not going to let you get off that easily. I think that, you know, it's been hard for me. First of all, none of this ever would have happened. We don't need to go through the whole story, but my intention was to stay 2 months. It was perfect timing on the perfect skill set, and you gave me that opportunity. And it was a time in my life where I was pretty low. I really didn't value my own skill set. And now a year later, through Armenia, through all these opportunities, I don't know where I'm exactly going next in life, but I feel very firm footing, and I'm very happy. And I think that you're not going to like this part at all, but you're the face of all of this, and everybody watches what you do, but sometimes you don't allow it to be reflected on you. So I think everyone needs to know how much you do, how much you've helped, and I know for me you've been life-changing. I can't even say another way. You've been life-changing. So thanks.
Well, thank you. And I think at the end of the day, the message is that Armenia is a place where we can actually do things and make a difference for our own lives first. And then, if we're any good at it, in the lives of others. So
yeah, one other thing, life-changing, but as you said, we disagree on so many things. You know, it's like respecting the individual, and then, you know, we disagree, and
that's fine, and that's fine, and learning that is also fine. There are different worlds that we all live in, and it's okay to disagree. That's part of the message we're bringing. Thank you for having come. Thank you for promising to come back.
Yeah, I'm coming back.
Greg Bilazarian, who has been producer of CivilNet.am, CivilNet TV, CivilNet.am now for the 9 months that we've been around. Thank you, good luck, and welcome back.
Thank you.